Next part of our update is that we have to double check the firmware, and therefore we go first again to our folder here, to the AV System Neo 52.1, the right build, and there we have to go in the folder firmware. There we choose the NX1200. And there we can see the current firmware version of the NX1200. We always see here two different files. It's always a master file and a device file. And there we have two different releases, what we can see here of the firmware. So that means the device has the firmware 1.1.42 and the master is 1.5.68 in this case. Please remember these two versions. We need it in a couple of seconds again when we check it again in our Netlink Studio. So to check these two firmware, we have to again open the Netlink Studio. We go on the left-hand side, a workspace bar on to the point online tree. We open that. And then we make a click with the right mouse button and we say refresh system online tree. So now we see here on the left hand side on the workspace bar that the NX1200 master has the version 1.5.68 and the device has 1.1.42. That's exactly the two versions what we also have seen here in our firmware folder. So normally in this case it is not necessary that we really have to make an update of the two firmwares, master and device firmware, but to show it to you that you can also handle this part, we will do this now, and we also make an update of the master and device firmware. For this, we go to Tools. We say firmware transfers sent to Netlink device. First of all, we always have to choose the location, as always. Here we have to, and please make sure here that we are in the correct firmware version, and it's again in the folder LCC firmware NX1200, and then we say OK. So, and you see currently the send button is gray, so therefore at that point when we choose one of the files, then the send button will be active, and we always start with the master file. The master, we mark it so that it is blue in this case. Then please again check the targets, the mapping again. It's again here the device 0, port 1 and system 0, and then we press the send button. You see the transfer is running at that point. Takes some seconds until the transfer is finished. Let's give him some more seconds to make the update here. So now we get the feedback, transfer is completed. Wonderful. So the master update is been finished now. Usually it takes round about 3 minutes. In our case, it was a little bit faster as the master file was already on the device. So usually it takes round about 3 minutes. And after we have transferred now the master file, it is a recommendation to make a boot of the Netlinks. And so we do now also here a boot of our system. So the boot is already been done from our side. You do not have to wait until we boot our system new. And then we continue with the update of the device firmware. So that means we choose then here again in our list of files the device update. So now one important part is that we have to set the device to a special device number. It's 5001. Then be careful, it can happen that in the system, sometimes it appears here a 1. Please make sure that here also on the system is a 0 in. And then again, we press the send button to transfer again here the system, the update to the system. And also here it took round about 3 minutes until the update is being done